Grid. There's one called bunch of different commercial districts that have. I mean, you guys are ready. Actually, some of them are like.
Sherry coming.
The hunters want to expect possible property. Or the gear for real estate agencies on the list. So. I created
A little longer to get here and then.
Well, I included an accident coming from the house.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Why did they scramble the hook and ladder for a?
I think they just do that. It seems like I don't know,
It
but
just made it worse.
yeah, and that's because it was taking up like a lane and a half practically.
Hook and ladder, the biggest piece of fire equipment that the city owns.
Yeah, I came and everybody was behaving like idiots trying to get around it too. Down at Fifth Street at the intersection right there in front of Wegman, in front of the Bisbee station, that intersection has more accidents than anywhere.
Well, they just thought, well, it's not crazy enough. Let's build a wall on it.
No.
Because it always had accidents.
All right, let's get started.
Yeah.
Under other matters not listed on, so call to order. I'd like to formally welcome Rex. Sounds like everybody knows him, so we're not going to ask you to kill yourself.
I'm happy to. I'll just say I'm happy to be here. Happy to have a role in this body. Appreciate it. I'm a new member. Yeah.
Well, we'll put you and Sherry together.
All right, so we have the minutes from last meeting, June 12th. Any comments? Assuming everyone has read them.
No comment.
All right.
Do you have anybody online who raised their hands for other matters?
Yeah. Is there anybody joining us?
We do have people online, a couple of landowners
Okay.
unidentified.
Those of you out there, welcome to the meeting. Do we have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
So move.
All right. Dr. Moses, move.
I'll second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Only to say that I will abstain, not having been here.
Sounds good. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? None. All right, so we've got a fairly full agenda. 6 items, 3 of them are utility easements. And it sounds like they graduate in complexity from beginning to kind of running through. So James or Scott, you guys want to start us off?
Excellent. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Get my paper in order. So first up, well, our first 2 utility easement requests are on neighboring properties. Just sorting out them. They are on. Anyway, they're on neighboring properties. So to give you context, we're northwest of Earlysville on Simmons Gap Road. And the proposals are related. It's all part of the same project. So you should see the green lines are existing overhead utility lines. So we have one running down the bottom here and one running northeast up here. The dashed white lines are the proposed utility easements. Those are underground easements. Welcome, Sherry.
Sure. Just got started.
Oh. Well, hello.
Very
Hello.
next.
Our new guy.
Member. I'm assuming you all have met.
It's a new guy?
Catching up to speed.
Old new guy. Yep.
And as part of these utility easement proposals, this stretch of overhead line is staying, but this stretch here is planned to be replaced by mostly by this underground line and also partly by this short stretch of underground, which is the subject of our first request. This is the Kudravitz property. And the utility easement is just to serve the dwelling on the property. As you can see, it doesn't impact any of the critical slopes or the riparian buffer or the floodplain, which are mentioned in the easement as being no build zones effectively. And the deed permits improvements and facilities customarily related to the use of the property. You might be wondering, why are we bringing this to you? That seems quite obvious, or matters for your attention. And ordinarily, if they were just building the utility line, they would just build it, or they would ask us, can we build this? And we would look at the deed and we'd say clearly yes. Because they want an easement, and this is a new thing, they're wanting easements even for these short stretches. They would like order, if not approval, at least they would like some acknowledgement from the holder that there is no objection here from the body, and staff does not have any authority to speak on behalf of the holder.
Just clarifying that it's a permitted use.
Exactly.
You mean they is Dominion?
Yes. So for this one, we find that it does not conflict with the conservation purposes, and recommend that you do likewise. Happy to answer any questions.
No above ground equipment.
That's not certain. I believe the easement permits kind of
Transformers.
certain structures within the easement.
This came up once before and we discussed extinguishment of the prior easement for the overhead line, which are typically extremely broad. Has that been discussed with the landowner?
In a lot of cases, these individual dwelling connections don't even have an easement like you would have for the larger transmission lines. These small single connections that are coming off the distribution line to the house were often done with.
Can you go back to the map, please, James?
Isn't it?
Yep, that one. So the red line is the new line.
No, the red line is the parcel boundary.
Oh, okay. So where is the new line?
The line that is, the new line is the line that is
Oh,
about to see with this projector, the green line.
I'm color challenged, so.
The overhead were green on the other.
So it's gonna follow the same path as the overhead line,
Not exactly.
but
Yeah.
roughly.
It terminates at an overhead pole here, but the existing overhead line is a straight shot.
Oh, I see, okay. And that doesn't have an easement.
That one is not just to serve the property, so I expect that one is one of the old easements.
But it's going away,
The plan is for Dominion to remove those overhead poles.
because that's a transmission line, not a service line.
Right. This easement being
Right,
proposed.
but the one that you showed us before that
Yes.
skirts that property, that's gonna replace the one, the dotted line to the left of that is gonna replace the green line that you just, that goes through the property.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I was gonna say, what happens to the guy behind it? Okay, all right.
So fair enough question from Chip. I'm certain they have an easement for that transmission line. Are they gonna vacate that easement?
I don't know.
I propose we ask them to do so.
I would
They
agree.
have done so in the past.
Is Dominion asking you for any sort of upgraded easement that would allow, like huge KV lines with, big 4-footed towers and stuff like that? I mean, are we giving them anything new?
With this,
Or just giving them the line in a different place?
this week, for this and the next one, the new right we're giving is the right to lay underground cable.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's a 15-foot easement.
Okay.
It's 15 feet wide.
So they're not gonna start building. you know, big time.
And they don't,
Then would permit them to install, operate, maintain certain above ground facilities associated with the underground electric distribution and data transmission system.
There was a note in the advanced agenda. This includes to serve only the property.
Right.
To only serve one
This
property.
this-
So the right of way is limited in that way. It says only to serve this property.
Yeah, it is. I noted that.
It stopped
There's a
because the other ones
sentence.
went around.
It's,
It terminates
it's defined by that.
by that white dotted line.
black and
Yeah.
white line and
Yeah, and it says Dominion confirmed that it proposed to serve only this property. Yeah, I mean, the dotted line on the left is no concern of ours. And,
not yet.
well, not yet.
It's about to be.
Next one, yeah.
So I would, you know, when I
5
was
minutes.
working for PEC, we would get these from time to time, and I remember on one, you know, I felt like and you've seen a bunch of these at VOF. Dominion was asking us to actually sign an agreement that said, you know, basically to sign on to the right of way. And I was like, well, no, I don't think this conflicts, but I'm not gonna sign on to this because it's got a whole bunch of other stuff in it. So I think that, you know, finding that it maybe isn't that it is a permitted activity is different than approving it. You know, I don't want to necessarily go on record of approving the right of way, but I would say that it's permitted activity. But if we find that it's permitted activity, we've got zero leverage to Dr. Moses' point about, you know, asking them to do something, but it's a permitted activity, so we could ask, but it's merely a
Right.
request. I don't know that we can hold that in quid pro quo and say, we're not gonna find that it's permitted activity unless you remove the other line.
I can imagine you could go back and not take action and make a request. Two things, is make a condition that that when it's installed, whatever relative lines are removed. The other thing is, in terms of the map, I've seen another electric company, they document where the facilities will be placed, the above ground facilities, and what they'll be. This map, that's absent.
I think those are two really important points.
What's their timing on this? 'Cause it's already been signed by David and others
Well, it sounds like we should,
back in April.
we should try not to take actions, indicate, as Rex suggested, that it's a permitted activity and request that they remove the existing line.
Hmm.
If they want a formal action, then perhaps the quid pro quo should be extinguishing the prior easement.
James, is this one of those where the landowners are paying for it? For the underground lines?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to Linda.
Dominion's been using state money that was appropriated quite a long time ago for underground lines, and from
A lot of these and more so than as if a landowner had to pay. Well, aren't they waiting on us to take action? I mean, don't we want to take some action?
in general or specifically.
I'm not asking a philosophical question.
I like the idea. Well, there's a couple things here. One, having them abandon it, we actually end up conservation wise with a better product because that whole pathway through is gone.
Which is why they're never gonna abandon it.
Well, it's like, I don't want them
through. It's such a short stretch. They don't gain anything by keeping it, really.
I'd be
So they're
concerned.
replacing it to the northwest.
Getting an alternative route with that, with the proposal of the other property.
I think we deal with that when we talk about the next project.
I like Richie's suggestion too of them identifying where the stobs or, you know, whatever's gonna be above ground. We know what it is and where it is. Too, on that line.
I mean, isn't it sort of de minimis? Do we really care?
There's nothing
Not
in that
now.
route. If the route was crossing wetland or wetland,
Right.
could be floodplain, but if it was a wetland or a protected wooded area or a stream buffer or something, that would really matter. But if it's open land,
So wouldn't it
we
be,
need to know exactly where the transformers. above ground facilities go.
Only if it's gonna be a
How are we gonna
substation.
decide for or against
Yeah.
if we know?
I was just kind of, just to establish, process, you know, in the sense that this is our expectation that when one does go in. We
Seems
know.
like
what's
the risk of some major facility landing here on a stub that goes to one house is fairly low.
Okay,
And I go back to, from reading the easement, it appears to be a permitted activity.
mhm.
So like to put ourselves in the way of a permitted activity. I don't know.
I would, this is a permitted activity. We need not say anything to clarify that. They're asking us to clarify.
Because they want this overlying easement. If it wasn't for that.
Then we have an obligation to ask for our usual quid pro quo, which is if you are taking something, you should offer something in return. And in this case, extinguishment of the prior easement would be the quid pro quo. So I think we don't want to be in a position where they have it both ways.
Right, I mean, we need to clarify, they get one easement across the property, you know, even that. To provide the power. I'm worried that they would later on try, if they didn't abandon it, try to use it for something else that we don't even foresee.
It needs to go, but I don't, it's not a real quid pro quo for the
Goes to
For
another
for the
property.
line going to the house. It is a quid pro quo for the replacement of the line that's gonna go away, which is gonna be replaced by the other line, which is,
Will this
Sorry?
matter be clarified by consideration of a second easement? Would it be easier to talk about the second easement that influences this one?
Happy to present on them. That might provide helpful context
Yeah.
and open up the
Fly a little higher on this and take a look at it.
possibilities. So the second request is map before this is on the pink parcels, which is an ACE easement from 2005, Huckleberry Hill. And the proposed line runs alongside the driveway until it reaches the house site, and then extends through an existing utility clearing through the woods here, across to other parcels. So this one, I believe will serve this property, but serves other properties as well. And
but it's still just a feeder line to individual properties. It's not a through transmission line.
right.
It's a distribution.
I was confused.
And this deed, like the Kudravitz deed, permits facilities related to the use of a single parcel. So if it were just going to the dwelling, that would be easily and clearly permitted. It is silent on utilities crossing the parcel to serve other properties. That is not mentioned in this deed, whether or not that's permitted. And so when that happens, we look to the conservation purposes of the easement to see if the proposed activity would impair them. And the conservation purposes, as listed in the deed, include the integrity of existing stream channels, protecting the quality of surface drinking water and the quality of groundwater, and conserving ecological communities. And so we don't think this line impairs any of those stated conservation purposes. It crosses one tributary of Beaver Dam Creek, but the method that they're using to install this whole line is directional drilling. It's not trenching. So they'll, for the tributary specifically, we asked them how will that go in. They said they'll create the hole at least 50 feet away, and the line will be at least 3 feet below the stream bed. So we don't anticipate that having any issue, any impact on the health of the stream.
Landowner's good with it?
Yes.
Okay.
landowners.
That almost, it feels like they may have anticipated us having issues with the Kudravitz line going on to serve others. Because it seems like it would save them a whole lot of effort if they just continued that Dravitz line.
Cause
To
the
tie
overhead
in.
line that's there now is the one that serves all these other properties. right?
Exactly.
My,
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying?
I,
The terrain under
my,
that line.
my
if you get
guess
that-
is that it's a steep hill.
Okay.
Currently down to Beaver Dam Creek, and crossing Beaver Dam Creek. It's a bigger creek. than
Where
Beaver
they've
Creek.
chosen to do it is,
It would be
Maybe
more
once you're digging the line, you're digging the line. It doesn't really matter. It's not like you're continuing an overhead line.
Yeah.
So,
Not flat, it's.
yeah, I mean, in some regards, it's like they're trying to find the least impact route. to take it
easiest for
across.
them and least impactful.
Yeah.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
so going back, I just want to make sure, going back to the overhead line that currently serves all those properties and crossing the Kudravitz property. That line does have an easement? Or does not?
I don't know for sure that it has an easement, but I would
So
be
there wouldn't be
extremely surprised
anything,
it
if
didn't.
there isn't one, there wouldn't be anything for them to vacate.
How do we
You
find
you
that
all
out?
are gonna mention vacation of existing easements in a motion. Just suggest that that include some statement.
Yeah, I mean,
if
why-
there are any, because we just don't know.
One ought to do ya.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
difficult to find, and I don't know that Dominion Energy can always produce.
Not willing to look too hard.
I've tried to look and it's a chore.
All right.
Well, I don't know for sure.
All right, so let's address Kudravitz right now. If it feels straightforward, the new line to the house, the only thing that we're concerned about is if there's an easement on the existing overhead, and if so, what to do with it? Is that clear? So if there's an existing easement on it, ask them to vacate it. Or we put that in motion.
That would also go for the other property. I assume that overhead line crosses the other east property, the east,
Mhm.
our,
I mean, I go back to the charge that we're given, which is staff is asking us to determine if these are permitted.
well, we know that they are.
So we know that they are. So I don't know that we have a lot of, I go back, I go back to, we don't have leverage. I think it's fair to ask them
Yeah,
to vacate
We
existing.
don't lose anything by
We
asking
don't
them.
lose anything by asking and, but I would want to be cautious about appearing as if we have the ability to approve something that we don't.
Could you look, I guess to the terms of the easement, it says under the terms of the easements, following may be constructed, and they talk about facilities customary related to the use of the property. Provided they're otherwise consistent with the easements, so the motion be crafted to suggest that that this use would be permitted as designed. It would be consistent with the easement so long as the prior easement were to be vacated, such that they're not adding to the burden on the property, they're replacing it with a more conservation minded.
That's why you make the big bucks, huh?
is that what they say in there?
That's what they quote, and I think
That-
James quoted.
They're
the same.
quoting our
Okay.
deed.
So the
You're
vacation,
quoting out of the deed of easement.
The Kudravitz deed of easement.
That's from the draft.
Yeah.
so wait a minute. The language for vacation's already in there, so I just heard.
No language about vacation.
Okay.
It's just this term here. But it's permitted, provided. And so.
Yeah, I
motion
mean,
could be made on that provision.
Finding would be that it permitted on consistent. See, I was consistent with the easement, and consistency would be the new easement replacing any prior. easement.
And there is in that easement,
We don't know if it exists. I mean,
no, but that easement contains language indicating it's for service of only the Kudravitz property.
Yes.
I don't believe the easement itself does.
Oh, not the easement itself.
The map does, it refers to the attachment A, which shows it's only being.
Right.
So the image that you saw is part of the.
Seems like our safe language would be is that we're confirming with them that it is permitted. And we're asking if there is an existing easement.
Be extinguished.
It could be extinguished. And somewhere there expressing our fears that if it's not, then it could be somehow activated in later use. We're not.
I went through this with Firefly on my own property. When I signed up for Firefly, to stub the fiber optic cable to my house from the trunk line, which they went across my property to do in the VDOT right of way, I guess. Anyway, they wanted an easement across my property to serve my house, and I'm going, I said, nah, I'm not going to give you, I don't know what you're going to do with that. And it didn't make any sense to me. But I guess it sounds like they're doing that. Everybody's doing that.
I don't know. I had to keep the guys from ditch witching through my propane tank. I wasn't worried about any easement.
They didn't do it without cutting my bright speed line.
I remember you had that line across your front yard for a while above ground. You had the above ground line.
Yeah, well, that was a different problem.
Okay, back to the matter.
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Does anybody have the words for a motion on this?
Or do we even need one? I mean, if it's permitted, do we does the board need to even do anything?
It seems like they are asking for an acknowledgement.
We can give them an
I mean,
acknowledgement.
What's the harm in making a motion that, yep, it's permitted activity and we would like you to vacate that line if you can. Thank you very much.
Plain and simple. That sounds like a motion.
That's a motion.
Is there a second?
Come on, Rex, second emotion.
Just pointed at it.
I'm with you guys.
Hello, guys.
We'll clean the grammar up on this motion, but
There's nothing ungrammatical about my motion. It was just a little vague.
just jump. Is there any further discussion on this? Is staff clear on what was just requested?
Looking to Scott to get the language of the motion.
Finding that new easement is permitted under the deed of conservation easement and requesting that any existing utility easement be abandoned.
And they could tell you that whether they'll know, you shouldn't have to go digging to find their easement on that property. They should tell you.
They know.
I know.
In practice, they usually produce them.
Mhm. Yeah, because worst case scenario,
It's crazy.
can anything really be done with that old easement?
Well, because it
Because
crosses the entire property and keeps going to all
that,
those
that
other.
one serves other properties, so
Yeah.
it is a bigger easement. That's why I would assume. they
If
would
it
vote
only
like
went to
they
the
will.
house, I'd say no.
We don't know what's on the other end of
We
it.
would have stopped talking about this a long time ago.
We don't know where that line goes.
I mean, practically speaking, they'll
But
use the new
but
line,
they're
but let,
replacing,
you know,
in that essence, it's a moot point.
Unless it continues on somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
All right,
I
Scott, do you feel like you've got a handle on the language of this? Would you like to reread it to us, please?
Move that your authority find that the new utility easement is permitted use under the conservation easement and requesting that any existing utility easement be abandoned.
And it's-
And is that a?
any existing one that's not can be used anymore. I mean,
That's being abandoned, any line that's.
Did we
being
say
abandoned.
vacated?
Vacated. And is that, whatever the
Well,
proper term of art
Well,
is.
vacated may take an affirmative action to record something that
The
vacates
utility
it,
easement
as
for
opposed
the
to
existing.
Then it just needs not.
Walk
new-
away.
Walk
It's a
away.
little passive.
All right, so that was motion,
Is that for Kudravitz or Kudravitz and Huckleberry Hill?
that was just, well,
Both.
It's only.
Let's have both.
Let's do both. Two birds, one stone.
It's my motion.
is there any issue with that, with the authority?
Could I clarify in that motion, is anything conditional on their vacation of the existing easement?
It's a request.
No.
Because we
Okay.
don't think we have any leg to stand on anyway.
Okay.
We are clear on Huckleberry that there's nothing outstanding. There's nothing different about the essence of the two.
Right.
Okay. So
Okay.
further discussion. You're unusually quiet down there, sir. Right?
Very happy.
Okay. That's. Okay.
Noted.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Well done, twofer. All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Third the way down.
Time to go home?
Third of the checkpoints.
Okay. So. Our third and final utility easement request is on a property that should be familiar to you. This is the Native Pond property. We are north of Ivy Road. Ivy Nursery is directly south of the property here. This came before the authority in December last year for an amendment where some land was added to the existing easement. And so here is the existing easement as it stands. We have a large forest protection area here in the green-yellow hatching, a 35-foot riparian buffer on Ivy Creek and a 100-foot buffer on the pond. The proposed utility easement comes in two parts. The eastern portion follows Ivy Creek Drive almost to the end. The spur here serves the solar panel array on the property, and this portion is only to serve the property. It's not crossing, it's not serving any other properties. The western portion along Old Ballard Road does not serve the property and is only crossing the property to serve other parcels. So I'm going to take this in two. Here's just a rough guide to show you where the proposed easements lie. Starting with the eastern portion, you'll see it ends just before the forest protection area. It does not enter the forest protection area. The impetus for this line is to serve the farm office that is just being constructed here. There is a building envelope for a second dwelling up here. This is the location of the existing driveway, which is the reason for it ending here. And as you can see, this spur serves the solar panels. Incidental energy generation it is permitted. These are sized to serve the property, but if they create more energy, then they're allowed to sell them back to the grid. The deed says that utilities to serve permitted building structures and activities are themselves permitted. So this section at least is fairly straightforward. There is no existing line. This isn't replacing anything. This is a brand new line to serve the farm office and late to the dwelling. And so we find that it does not conflict with the conservation purposes and recommend that the authority for this portion, find the eastern portion, that it is permitted.
Are these both underground again?
These are both underground, both 15-foot easements.
Cool. Not that it really matters, but is this proposed by Dominion or is this by the property themselves?
The property owner has asked Dominion to serve their structures, and Dominion has come in with this easement proposal.
So it seems like at some point too, they're gonna be back to us asking to run another underground line up to the
where the building envelope is for the proposed site.
I'm not sure how far they can, the Dominion agent said that they don't need an easement from the transformer, I'm out of my depth here, to the house. I don't know how far that can be.
Cool. Okay.
So I'm not sure.
There's already a primary residence on the property, right?
Yes,
Yes,
So why aren't they just running a line from there? to-
it's way over.
it is over here in the east.
So what's the thing to the west of the pond?
That is a former dwelling, now an art studio,
Has power.
presumably.
There's a lot of improvements on this one.
Yeah.
I voted against it.
For the record.
Yeah.
For the record, again. I don't have an issue with this. With it. Yeah, let's talk about the other one so we can do one motion for both.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to the same reason. I think my question is academic, because I'm asking why the hell are they running the ground as opposed to coming off the existing line, but I would go back to I'm making it more complicated than it is because the easement permits utilities.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not our problem,
Right.
you know?
It's not.
Yeah.
Can
They
we
just-
do them can we do them separately? Because I
We
think
can.
the next one has a resolution that's, that is that right, Jane?
Yeah, the next one
That's-
requires explicitly written approval, so we,
Okay, so
They're
let's go back
different
to your
pieces.
recommendation. Let's not make it more complicated.
Make a motion, Rex.
It's
That this is consistent with the easement.
all you gotta read. A.
Um, but- Yeah, it's permitted under the terms of the easement.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded?
On this matter, or?
Just
Room
this.
for
I was on the previous
Here,
matter.
there is right around.
That was when we did Zoom.
You're on shaky ground. I don't see any
And we
country
lost half
lights.
our people, so it was a whole new audience.
okay. So
But I came after all.
staying with this one, but moving to the western portion, this is a different matter. The deed says that utilities that serve other properties may be constructed, or rather shall not be constructed unless the holder determines that they do not impair the conservation values of the property and give prior written approval. Such approval should take into consideration the visibility and any other adverse impact on the conservation values of the property.
And it's underground and they're drilling it
Underground directional drilling.
in the VDOT right away.
No.
Really? It looked like it was virtually in the right way.
Next to the road, but it's on this property. So again, we go back to the conservation purposes. Those identified water resources, water quality, biodiversity, aquatic habitat, etc. And the important resource on this parcel is Ivy Creek, which is protected with a 35-foot riparian buffer. The proposed utility easement doesn't go into that buffer at all, but we noted that it was a bit tight at the southern corner there. They have plenty of room, but it was explained to me that the easement, the location of the easement isn't preset. It's effectively set by the construction crew. They go on the ground, they know roughly where it has to be, and they put it in based on their professional opinion of where the best location should be. And then the easement is created over the top of that. So for that reason, because of the tight gap, we are recommending that approval be conditioned that the easement doesn't enter the riparian buffer.
Okay,
Which for most of the length of that easement is not a problem at all. It's just that one point.
yeah, so what constitutes an encroachment?
If,
Within 35 feet.
right,
No. An encroachment of the 35-foot buffer. That's what
So-
we're worried about, right?
so if the line is laid essentially within 7.5 feet of the edge of our 35-foot buffer, then their easement would encroach on our buffer.
So their easement cannot encroach into our buffer.
Their easement cannot encroach because their easement permits them to
Do anything within their easement.
do anything that's necessary for maintenance.
So how much potential overlap do we think we're talking about there? I mean, it may not, but if it did, how much would it be? It couldn't be much.
Is the edge of the road and the stream.
Well, they can get
Diverge.
permission from VDOT to put it on the road for that. And it's not our problem.
This
is not to serve the public. That's correct.
Correct.
So to that point, that is the landowner being paid for this? But it's.
They requested the other side to serve the farm office. They
They
didn't
were-
request this.
And the landowner is online listening and clarifies that this line was not requested, nor is it desired by the landowner,
It's good input.
which is the first I'd heard of that.
That's the
decided by this body. Is the landowner gonna sign?
Well, that's the question I have, having heard that it's
Yeah, that
desired.
changes it completely. I thought the
Totally
landowner-
changes it completely.
I
Right.
thought the landowner was
Our
on-
opinion doesn't dictate what the landowner does.
Well, I would argue that, VDOT, I'm sorry, Dominion can't ask us for other people's rights.
Right.
Absolutely right. I mean, we can approve it, but if the landowner doesn't.
Yeah,
sign,
it
we
was-
don't get it.
Our responsibility is to the landowner. If the landowner is a request of us in that regard.
Right.
I don't know that we have an actionable item.
We need to be, I think it's not actionable because we need to be clear and we can't say that it's not permitted. Because when it turns to our easement. In that,
We wouldn't grant some other third
Exactly
party
what I'm
rights to do
saying.
something on somebody else's property.
exactly,
This is an instance where we should do nothing.
Yeah.
And indicate our displeasure being asked by a third party to approve something on property owned by. And the reason-
right. Well, we can't-
Particularly given what you just, I'm
Right.
largely reacting to what you just said, but if,
Yeah.
given if that's correct, then I don't think we have something that appropriately before this body.
Right, I mean, they donated easements to help protect it and for us to give permission to somebody come in. and
Give
potentially-
permission to a third party trespass. It's not our role.
Right. It probably didn't occur to them. I'm sure it's not well, you never know what's in somebody's head, but I'm sure it's. But I'm in total agreement with. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you said is entirely correct. So should we just take no action on this one? Do we need to?
It's only permitted with this body's written approval.
Yeah.
So if you take no action, then it's not.
All right, do we need to just move on to the next agenda item then?
Did we
Yeah.
make a motion on the first bit? We did, right? We did that. I did that
You
actually.
did that.
Yeah, we've got that.
At Sherry's urging.
Why is the owner just now saying that they're opposed to it?
I don't know.
I wonder if he thought,
They,
if he.
she
if it
has her
helped
hand
him
up.
Get his.
Do we
Okay.
want to,
then
Right.
let
Is
it
that-
go.
do we want to give her the opportunity to
Jay, she has her hand up.
speak? Give her hands up?
Yes, please.
Kay, you're now permitted to speak.
James, I apologize if I have missed a step here, but I was not aware of the second strip that Dominion was asking for along Old Ballard Road. I was only, my understanding was that they had tried to get down to the creek and all the way across the easement in their first request, and you rightly denied it, and that it was amended now to simply give us the opportunity to hook the solar at the office to the grid. And so I'm not sure what that other piece is for. Well, I'm not sure where it's going. I don't know if it doesn't make any sense to me. I haven't seen it before. And I, again, apologize if I missed it before. But I don't think I need that, and it is very close to the creek. And we have a wide buffer now planted with trees to stabilize those creek beds. I don't know. I don't know why we would do it.
Unless they were just coming from farther away and drilling way under the creek. I don't, but it's still up to the landowner whether
Right.
they can permit this. This is out of our hands. And
I think that we made the right. I think we leave it right where it is. That
Yeah.
We approved the first bit that we approved and take no action on this.
Well, I appreciate the first bit, and if the second one, if Dominion has a reason that makes sense to me, then it can come back around. Yeah?
Okay,
Certainly.
that sounds good.
So
Thank you,
Dominion,
gentlemen,
to correct
ladies.
this,
Thank you.
put them on the same, I mean, Dominion's the one that presented them both together.
Yes, and the proposal, the proposal that A was mentioning is originally it crossed the property here. It went straight through the forest protection area.
Show that here.
Sorry. Yeah, let me get laser pointer. So it followed this parcel line and then across here. So that crossed both the forest protection area and the Ivy Creek. Went under Ivy Creek.
Use this property to serve other properties.
To-
down the line.
He explained that was to
No, I just meant down the line. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Not later, not at a later date.
So complicated.
Okay. Ferguson, thank you for your
So-
input. That was really important.
While we're here also, we have Peter online. I believe that may be Peter Taylor. I'm not certain that's Peter Taylor, and he also has his hand up. So
Yes.
would you like him to? I don't think I can. I'm
You say
afraid.
down or up?
You just
Down.
did a little bit.
I turned my volume
Well, that was helpful.
down. So Peter, you're now allowed to speak if you have anything to say.
My understanding on these Dominion easements is that VDOT has granted Dominion access to their right of way. And Dominion is using that for all manner of things, including Firefly, irrespective of additional easements on the property. That's what's taking place in Keswick and through my property.
So to that point, Dominion, in theory, could use the Old Ballard Road right away for their line if they needed to get down there without using Mrs. Ferguson's property. Yes, in theory.
You
But so
have to
that
go
they'll-
on the other side of the road.
Yeah, so
Right.
they can come back and see if they want to after they. Or that. It's a different question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter, I hadn't realized you would be attending online. That's my fault. I'll now promote you to a panelist so you have
No
Yeah.
problem. I've been listening attentively.
So he's to fly. Do we intend for him to participate by voting and also participate in the expected closed meeting? If that's the case, then we need to properly vote him on the island.
I
Is
don't
that okay, Counselor? Can we do that?
If you have a remote participation.
Okay.
Just the in-person
Cool.
quorum has to vote to allow the remote person to participate.
Well, we need, so Pete, so the question is, are you absent for personal/business reasons or medical reasons?
Be careful how you.
Or are you in Nantucket fishing?
Yes.
It's personal.
No, it's gotta be one or two, personal or medical. Did we lose him?
Peter?
he's still there.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Are you absent for personal or medical reasons?
Personal, I'm in Manhattan.
Well, the second question was gonna be, where are you? So that's fine. So then there would be a motion to allow him to participate. I would.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We could discuss it.
Thanks.
Sorry we didn't do that
Welcome
sooner.
aboard.
I'll now promote him and I've now promoted you, Peter. You can accept, and I believe that will prompt you to leave and then rejoin. We'll have to cross the technological bridge of the closed session when we come to it. But that's fine. Okay. Thank you for that consideration.
Right, Oakfield.
Moving on to more familiar territory. The first donation proposal is that's a little tricky to see. Let me get a laser pointer. The red parcels here, northwest of Free Union. This is Wesley Chapel Road. It's on Chapel Spring Road, just off there. It's 3 parcels, 87 acres. Contains 1 dwelling at the moment, and approximately 15 potential dwellings would be eliminated.
That because 3 parcels and 5 per parcel.
3 parcels, 5 per parcel, 5 development rights per parcel, plus the acreage to do 2 more 21-acre parcels. So it has maximum potential for 17 dwellings, and they're retaining the right for 2. I should also mention the same owner owns a small 8-acre parcel down here in the southwest that's not contained within this donation proposal. The resources
It's across the road.
across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vacant as well. Nothing on that parcel. So as you can see, it's in the watershed of the South Fork Rivanna Reservoir. It only has 2 acres of critical slopes, but they're all above the intermittent stream in the north of the property. Contains 77 acres of soils designated important for agriculture and shares approximately 4,000 feet of boundary with existing conservation easements. That is Foxington to the north, and it's a nature conservancy easement on the parcel in the south. The proposal, as written, is such that there will be no subdivisions, 3 parcels to be treated as 1. As I said, 2 dwellings would be permitted, including the existing dwelling. It would permit a maximum of 6,500 square feet aggregate across the 2 dwellings. Standard terms for accessory structures and for farm buildings, the landowner wanted us to include the existing uncovered riding ring. That's permitted under the standard deed template, but we didn't see any harm in adding it explicitly at landowner request. And there would be 200-foot riparian buffers on that intermittent stream, and the proposal is such that all 2 acres of critical slopes is contained within that 200-foot buffer.
So was that to incorporate that was the reason for its expanded width?
Exactly.
So there's 1 existing dwelling, correct?
Correct.
Any mention of a building envelope for where the second dwelling would potentially be?
No.
There's a lot of view exposure on that backside, like that.
This is the yellow house, right?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, you can see that from the
It is a
road,
yellow house. Is that a
And
famous yellow house?
It's
From the-
beautiful.
It is.
from the dirt road of Wesley Chapel and Foxington, you can pretty much see that backfield. So there'd be a view shed impact if a house ended up in that backfield versus I feel like a lot of times we talk about keeping the structures kind of gathered together.
Who's the lawyer for this? Is there anybody?
Charlie Alvis from Williams and
Oh,
Mullen.
right, yeah, okay.
And the owner, I should say, is the same owner as the Chapel Springs Farm, which has a number of easements on it, including one from us.
That's what C is.
Like the last meeting where we wish the property to be conveyed as 1 property and reported as.
Was that a question or?
So
Sorry.
it is a question. It's similar to our last discussion at the last meeting where we insisted 3 parcels be appropriate.
That was a much smaller property.
Yeah, I knew that question was gonna come up. That I'm concerned to adopt that as this for us because I think it would really turn off some people trying to donate the expense. I agree with it. I feel like we're protected in the language. But as Scott said, with that smaller piece, I get it. Those were smaller parcels. With larger pieces, for some reason, it doesn't seem as much of a threat, but I just, that might be just a mistaken perception.
I mean, the danger is somebody may come after you and try to break up the easement into the existing constituent parcels.
Right.
If
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
if you're good with that,
Let's see.
okey dokey.
What are the acreages for
Can't see,
each of the
can't.
three? I guess that's a small one in the corner, then the one that has the improvements, and then the one at the top.
Yes, this one is 10 acres. Sorry, you can't see my pointer. The southeast small one is 10
Yeah,
acres.
Just got on that road frontage.
I believe the northern one is about 30.
30
So-
acres.
And
Okay.
the
So
middle
you
one,
can do a 21, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when you put in your proposal, no subdivisions, 3 parcels to be treated as one, what does that mean?
that's how the template ensures that someone can't come along and split them.
Right.
It says these 3 parcels shall be treated, and Rich, you can
But
give
what
better
you
Well,
explanation.
they'll have to be in the same ownership.
Was they, after they, what, at the same time as recording the deed, they gave up the other parcels and.
And
then
it became
as
one parcel.
But they physically erased those interior
Right.
lines.
At the
Yeah.
same time or after or before?
They're doing it, so
Congruently.
the way Dwayne Zobrist is doing it is he's had the survey for the boundary line adjustment, which is merging the property. The way it's moving is we'll be prepared for him to record that boundary line adjustment immediately before he records the conservation easement.
Ideally, I agree with if we can erase through boundary line adjustments, these interior lines. I also, on the other hand, feel that we're protected by the language too, but I'm also concerned by asking donors to do it, it puts not an unnecessary, but just another financial burden on them to possibly dissuade people from donating if they think that that's our standard practice.
Well, it depends on each case. If the parcels are not surveyed, then it's a major expense. If they are surveyed, may not be much of an expense.
Or you got it from a tax perspective, technically giving up subdivision rights when they do that immediately prior to donating the easement, in which case their easement value is less.
So we
Yeah,
raised-
obviously if they
we-
do it immediately, it's not as bad, but
We raised that. of course.
Yeah.
I mean, my preference is to do it in the deed.
I don't know, Wayne said he was comfortable doing it, because he originally started and he said he was gonna do it after the conservation easement, but he spoke with his tax professional, he said he's comfortable.
Well, if the tax deduction is disallowed, they can sue him, not us.
Absolutely.
You were actually. I'm like, you can make the case that the impetus here would be even greater, the risk would be greater. Because there are larger properties. So, and I would not take a great deal of comfort in the deed language, because that could be contested easily.
Right.
So I would say in this case, we should stay with the discussion we had previously and say, yes, we will accept it, but only if the interior boundary lines are extinguished. To convey as one person.
Are there any existing surveys of these parcels?
All I know is that they're parcels of record as of 1979, and so
Yes.
if there are,
You know what?
All parcels,
Since
parcels of
the-
record as of December the 10th at 5/10/1980, right?
these existed as they were in
There's a
1979, and I haven't seen any recent survey. I doubt it.
There's a good chance that these are recently surveyed because the 2 adjacent properties, they were all 3, one big.
Yeah,
farm.
didn't they sell
It was
Westfields?
Edgefields, Westfields, and Oakfields.
I mean, this is still the, what's her name, Ryan?
Yes.
Page has Edgefields. Not Page,
Not
Caroline,
Page,
Caroline
Caroline.
has Edgefields, the one on the right, that's not under easement. She's got that, but then Oakfield's just sold and then Westfield sold a few years ago.
Huh, okay. I thought she still owned it.
So as the new guy who's watched this body make decisions on easements for 20 years,
Who is the new guy?
as the new guy on the board.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
thought you meant the
no,
new landowner.
No, on my own role. I think that question about dissolving the parcel line prior to the donation is perhaps a material question. And whether or not the easement language adequately serves the purpose, which is clear here, which that these remain as one and not be subdivided versus vacation of the parcel lines is perhaps a question to be had, but I think that's a policy question that should be taken separate and apart from this. This body has accepted easements for years and years and years without asking people to do that. And I don't know, I haven't been watching what's been happening for the past 3 years, but in my experience, it's been doing it for years and years and years without asking for folks to do that. And it seems like a moving target if we're now asking people to do that without making a policy determination. Really looking at the state of the art as far as the template language and the other implications that that type of request might have for donors. And I wouldn't suggest that we rely on Blaine Zobrist's determination for his own client in terms of the implications that that might have for all future donors. So I think the implications of that decision could be bigger than we might anticipate if we start going down that road.
But the whole property's under easement.
Yep.
Right. And you're gonna allow a second house to be built on that northern piece, however big that is.
Or anywhere on, not even on that northern.
Well, I'm just saying, but the
Theoretically.
concern is if the property lines stay the way they are now, that at some point, at some unknown time in the distant future, somebody might want to come along and sell that to somebody else. And I'm thinking in my head, does that matter?
BOF holds 4,000 easements that have internal property lines all over them.
Right.
And we're trying to
Can't get,
dissolve them whenever we can,
I mean, I
because
can
we've
see,
been now,
you know, this
we have been
property
advised that
changing
it's
hands.
best to do it. And so that's why we're doing
I
it.
can see this property changing hands, whoever, how many owners go and say, gee, let's sell that 10 acres. It's got all that road frontage and that's an easy fix. And it doesn't, you know, it could, you just never know who owns it.
And
They don't look it up and they go do it before.
and then when this body learns of that 75 years down the road, then it becomes incumbent upon this body to go void that transaction.
Right.
That's right. We gotta
It's-
look to our
yeah.
legal council. You'd be old and gray, but
It's
you'd
not-
be in
it's
court.
not pretty.
It seems pretty simplistic, but you know, while they're redesigning their GIS system anyway, that if those lines just disappeared on GIS and then it's said in the deed that it's one parcel that looks like one parcel.
Can only have one owner. Isn't that language in the deed? Has to remain under single ownership,
May not be conveyed separately,
may not be conveyed.
separately.
the three
I don't know
parcels.
why that doesn't work, but I understand the visual. The strength of seeing something with lines on the map giving you permission, which it does not, obviously. It's cleaner, it's safer to get rid of the internal lines. But I also think the language of the deed is pretty straightforward and instructive.
I'm afraid a request like that would make the donor walk potentially. Or, you know, they could just find another holder that's willing to accept the strength of.
There's not a lot of other options.
Why do you think they would walk?
You have to pay for,
They won't
you have to pay for surveys to do the boundary line adjustment.
Could be a
Right, if
significant
it
cost.
needs 3 surveys then.
And it also feels like we're changing the rules far into the game also. You know,
I think it's a relevant policy question that would be one that we should address as a policy question.
Well, then, yeah, maybe we should do that as a broad matter and not address it every single time it comes up.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Right. So with this, do we make, like, approve it and make the internal boundary line adjustment request, like erasing the request?
I mean, we can suggest it and say it makes a stronger easement. Who knows? The landowner might actually care.
Right.
And ideally, they would do it, like, we can make the request, it's not a requirement, we could request that they do it after recordation.
Or at the same time.
Or the same-
Let their tax attorney figure out what the timing.
This may be most of that also.
I mean, I'd feel comfortable with it.
I'm gonna ask our legal team to write a practical point on this.
Okay, so
So no limitation as to where the second house is gonna go or any requirement that the first house stay where it is. Right?
If this, the practice has been that we only do building setbacks we only propose building setbacks to limit visual impacts on designated entrance corridors and scenic highways. That doesn't mean you all can't make that a condition of the approval now if you feel it's important. That, the current house looks like it's about 370 feet from the road, very roughly measured. So if that's important to you and you want to say all dwellings must be at least 350 feet from the road or something like that, then
I know where it is, but it can't just hold the trees.
They can't tell a house is in here. It's that we would expect building envelope for a future structure.
yes. Previous proposals where there were going to be building envelopes, the authority has asked to see them before approving a proposal, even though we don't, the authority doesn't necessarily want the envelopes, but if there are going to be envelopes, you'll have requested to see it. Excuse me.
There is now, this easement proposed to be construction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
the
notify
house
building envelopes and then-
doesn't exist.
So we expect a building envelope. No.
Ask. I mean,
Don't know.
or, I did, we've done in some cases, it's, we've always played that game of, exclusion or building envelopes, excluding places to build or building envelopes, or give them, two or three, they can choose 2 or 3 envelopes of which they can choose one. I know that we've done that on the other easements too, that they've been like, we want to put a house somewhere, but we're not sure where, but it's going to be in one of these.
Well, also the landowners, once they hear that we're proposing that the interior lines disappear, they may want to rethink what the future is and where they want to place things,
Mhm.
instead of having those lines still there, instead of saying the back third field or whatever that was. And that'd be interesting. I want to see them be able to enjoy their land.
Yeah.
And get all the benefits from that.
Well, the internal lines should only matter to house placement if we allowed separate conveyance, which we're not going to at this point.
Yeah, it's more the psychological effect of those internal lines.
It's also
In
worth,
this county, you could build several houses on one tax parcel anyway, so
Yeah.
we're not really.
Right.
The parcel lines are actually another topic that we finished with, and now we're talking about envelopes. My concern is very basic, which is to be sure that their legal counsel is aware of the IRS's interest in building envelopes.
yes.
Because it'd be too bad for the thing to get disallowed if that could possibly happen.
I don't think-
And that,
Right.
and it would be better to communicate that to them instead of saying, we want a building envelope, giving them
Yes.
the pragmatic and positive
I think they
rationale.
goes back next month
And
or whenever they're able to provide the envelopes, because we need to ask them for those.
right, we will advise them that as we understand it, the IRS requires building envelopes and so would think strongly if you're not going to do building envelopes.
And while you're
um,
at it, get rid of that.
Sorry.
And while you're at it, get rid of the boundary.
I would suggest that we've identified the resources to be protected. And if they come back with building envelopes, is there anything aside from the buffer that would give you reason to object to a building envelope? That is how we've traditionally thought about it. We've protected the things we want to protect. Wherever else they want to put the building envelope, what grounds would there be to ask them to move it?
I mean, there's no setback from the road either, right?
Right.
We could tell them.
I mean, it's a very pretty view across that field to the yellow house.
Mhm.
And it would be too bad if somebody built some stuff, you know, in the foreground.
They can plant trees. They've planted screening trees.
But right across the street.
Yeah, and we couldn't prohibit.
Yeah, we do have to figure out ways of stopping that. That's another good question.
That was a rabbit hole.
I mean, that project over on Hydraulic Road, Woodlands Road, is a real
Mhm.
issue, I think.
Isn't the assumption, and I guess this is a question maybe for the landowner too, are they assuming, and we are also assuming that the permitted house that doesn't yet exist is gonna go on that northern?
Yeah,
We're assuming it's gonna go up.
I'm fearing, I'm not assuming, but fearing.
I don't have any
Well, it
idea.
sounds like you
but,
don't
know,
want it to be on the same parcel where the existing house is.
Or just not in front of the existing house. That's where the really
closer to
pretty
that
vista
house.
is across that field to the yellow house. Behind the house,
Pretty much in between the barn and the house, or the right of that.
but if
Like
they
the
want to
red-
build something out by the existing outdoor ring, I'm not sure that makes any difference.
Back. A certain distance from the existing dwelling. Would we come back to having a desire for building it?
Well,
I mean, I have
Be
two
nice to
thoughts.
have-
One is you know, having no visual protection at all here is sort of too bad because it's a pretty farm.
I know, but it's,
The other is beware the IRS.
it's not a conservation value that we called out in the easement. It's not a scenic easement.
Well, we should add it then.
Conservation of the owner is not specifically germane. One does wonder. Reconstruct an old house anywhere, which would suggest that they're envisioning subdividing this property. Because the only rationale for a property under easement would be to make continue to have. This has no conservation purpose. Only on extinguishing a certain. Started, but nonetheless, it's a more limited view of what constitutes conservation value. So to boil it down, I would say, yes, we should have building envelopes for replacement building or additional one. And the boundary line, the internal subdivision should be extinguished. That makes a good conservation statement. But then landowners should wish to do that to maintain the conservation value of the property.
I mean, we could satisfy ourselves with a setback, but I really do think that they probably do a word search. And if they don't see the word envelope,
Seems like, yeah, by having the envelopes there, that creates a setback, like what you're saying. Seems like existing building should be replaced where the existing replacement should be, like we talked 1 foot on base. That a replacement should. Yeah. And then that made an option for the second dwelling building. That's outside of, you know, what we perceive would be a setback. Also.
Totally on board with, directing them for some building envelopes to preserve as it says, some of the scenic integrity of the property. Puts property up in my head. I'm not concerned about the internal. It's the issue, and we can make a recommendation.
Not into a motion.
I mean, I'm not sure you all need to do a motion. We understand
Or-
what your concerns are. We can just communicate that to the landowners and say,
Okay.
we need to bring it back.
That's easy, that's perfect.
And can we take up this matter as a policy issue, the whole building envelope thing? I'm getting a little tired of having the same roundabout discussion about building envelopes every single time. It's.
I
Let's
suppose
fish or cut bait on this.
Well, do you mean on the envelopes or on the internal?
Well,
boundaries?
Both, and so there's three, just
Yes.
as an aside, there's three things that actually we want to have policy discussions about. The internal boundary lines, the envelopes, and then also we need to kind of come up, this came up earlier, sort of a list of, there are actions out there that staff could probably take that we don't necessarily have to have a meeting about too.
That's also correct.
Sure,
Perhaps strategic undergrounding of power lines by me.
That's
right,
kind of the context.
exactly.
Rod came up with it, but there
Well,
are
let's
some-
say-
We can bring those to you next meeting
Yeah,
Please.
as discussion items.
so
Well,
let's dispose of this.
We can.
Give notice, but we don't.
Mhm.
Okay, so Scott and James, you guys know what to do to communicate to the donors?
You have it.
Okay,
So
Do we,
no
think that the
motion.
donor is any under
Under any,
under any particular time
no,
constraints that this causes?
I don't believe so.
This delay, okay. And can we meet next month? Is everybody around?
Not necessarily.
All right, let's move on to,
This is being deferred next month.
yeah, pending staff discussions.
Good. Thank you. Could we pause for a second between these items?
Yes.
A different, a CAC has this Zoom account, has a meeting on the Zoom account for a virtual meeting starting at 6.
Can you make me a co-host and then you can drop out? And then you can share
Potentially.
into it? And then you'll have to drop out and
Mhm.
rejoin. And I'll make you a panelist and then you'll be able to share it.
Don't think so, but for
We
some
only have so
reason,
many accounts that can actually run. a
I think there are 2, maybe 3.
We could just hurry.
Okay, so that means,
Eat, right?
That's what I said, yes.
So, you wanna be on
So
here by
are you
6:30,
hosting?
We do.
so,
If you make me a co-host, I should be.
Giddy
yeah,
up.
okay, so I'm going to leave and hope nothing breaks. Leave webinar, assign a new host.